Hello everybody, and welcome back. Last time, the party were in two different places. Liz and Silvia were in the nest, somewhere, helping Rowan investigate the murder of that young courtesan. Donard and Carrick were at the docks, helping Simeon Tornescu get to the hill where someone he calls a senator will give him a safe house, since he is considered currently enemy number one. And as they smuggled him through the streets, he was cursing the common rabbleway, the wabbleway, about how dare they accuse him of such a heinous crime. Don't they know that they shouldn't accuse their betters of stooping to such low things? And by the time Donard got to about here, he was seriously ready to hand this idiot over to the crowds to let them tear him apart. But they got him to a safe house, and that is where he is installed, somewhere in the hill. Everybody is convening back at the Duke's League. A constable from the nest has also spent some time in the Duke's League filling them in on the latest news. There is no news of Malin, that's regrettable, and the people who they caught, not at the docks, but the previous time in the storeroom, the guy who was the thug didn't say anything, but the orator, the one who was stirring up the trouble with the crowds here, he unironically sang like a bird. He admitted that he was paid for by the Veiled Society. He himself is not a member, and he has no idea who actually gave him the money. He was just given a bag of money by some mysterious people. Liz and Silvia can concur that does happen, and he just did what he was told. Tomorrow is the day of Lucia Vorlow's funeral. Rowan Blackthorn knows everybody who's anybody, and so he is just kept in every loop. Her parents, who live by the coast, have spent most of the past few days galloping hard to be here. They haven't made it yet, but they will turn up tomorrow morning just in time for their own daughter's funeral, so that must be pretty distressing for them. And Rowan says, because we were the ones who actually found her body, and he's been able to pull a few strings, he's got us a chance to go to this funeral. And as much as nobody really wants to go, it is a good chance just to have a good look at who's who in the world of the nobility, because they will all be there. The fine clothes they wore when they went to fancy inn here, the Golden Book, are a bit too bright for a funeral, so they go and buy some decent dark, sombre looking clothes from the merchants district, and again just wait for news in case Malin shows up. Donard and Carrick are back at the Duke's League Inn. Sylvia and Liz are going to make their way to the Splintered Diamond, when all of a sudden there's a whiz and a thunk, and an arrow just goes past Liz's ear and sticks into a doorpost, and attached to it is a note. Here we are back in the employment section. They actually say it's a dagger with a note. Be at Vinters Lane tonight before the second bell. Go to the wine shop on the corner. Be ready, do not fail. Next message will be more pointed. Well, that's a hint that the arrow will probably end up in you. And I'm going to add something to this note. I'm going to add, we have something you want. And, well, that something is immediately apparent that it's Malin. So it looks like he's being held hostage by the Veiled Society as an attempt to blackmail Liz and Sylvia into doing whatever this job is. So when they go back to the boys' inn, there's a lot of to and fro in here. They show the note, and Rowan says it's best to just go along with it. At least it's the only way you can guarantee that your brother will be kept alive. You don't want them to dump a corpse on your bedroom floor, do you? So with much regret, and at a price much higher than that bag of 20 gold pieces they were thrown on the first day, Liz and Sylvia have to go to Vintners Lane and, well, do whatever is required of them. And that's going to happen tonight. There's another party conference upstairs at the Duke's League. Well, says Donard, choosing his words carefully for once, the good news is that it seems your brother is still alive. Well, he is, we assume, mentioned in that note, said Carrick, unless these folks are making a sick joke. Rowan shakes his head. No, they aren't. These folks like to get things done. They don't have time for jokes. They mean business, and clearly they expect you to do the same. That's some comfort, says Sylvia, but what is the job? No one can answer that one. It's going to be a long afternoon until the second evening bell. They pass the time going over everything they know. They list facts. 1. 2 people were trying to bury Lucia in the cellar, not 1. That could be significant. 2. Lucia used to spend time at the docks, staring at the ships and dreaming of adventures. 3. Simeon Tarnescu also, it seems, hung around the docks, engaging courtesans. If those young ladies weren't mistaken, says Rowan, and I don't think they were. Perhaps that's why Lucia brushed him off, Liz suggests. Perhaps she saw Simeon with Ruby and realised what sort of man he was. That's actually a good observation, says Carrick. Liz, despite everything, tries to smile. Well, she's likely to have seen something, says Donard. Point 4. Both Lucia and Ruby were killed in the same way, and the only person that connects them is, again, Simeon Tarnescu. And there hasn't been a third murder, says Silvia. It's not looking too good for young Tarnescu, says Rowan. What a pity, says Donard. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. We're forgetting point 5, says Silvia. The Vorloy family stand to make a fortune from their new dock, and the Radu will be the losers. But, says Rowan, looking perplexed and grabbing his jerkin, flapping his elbows, what would they gain from murder, especially a rather insignificant niece? No. If the Radu family did this, and the Duke found out, he would execute all of them, and the people of the city would cheer him on. And why would that Radu lot kill a courtesan? Asks Liz. Unless, says Carrick, it's us that's making the connection between these 2 unfortunate young ladies, and there really is nothing to connect them. And that, my stocky, beardy friend, says Rowan, is what I'm thinking. We're trying to find the tidy solution that solves everything, and that might be a mistake. Does no one think the Veiled Society is behind any of this? Asks Silvia. Well, the problem is this, says Rowan. If they are involved, then they have covered up all their tracks, as usual, and we have no lead to follow. And Donard, being practical, reminds them they have no leads at all, only hunches, and that kind of kills the conversation. They still have to eat dinner, so they go downstairs to the common room, and even though Liz has no appetite, they insist she get some food into her. While they eat, the first evening bell rings. Their meeting this evening was 4 before the second one. Right. For those of you who know this adventure, you'll realise that I've changed this employment section quite a bit. The job the boys were given to meet up with Simeon Tarnescu is fairly close to what's here. But the other job, the one for the Veiled Society in Vintner's Lane, is going to be very different. I couldn't actually find Vintner's Lane. I found the Vintners Guild in the Merchants District. It's here, so I'm going to assume either that street or that street is Vintner's Lane, and they were told to meet at the wine shop before the second bell this evening, and that's what they do. Liz and Silvia hang around the corner of this wine shop, and they're approached by 3 people in hoods. One of them seems to be the leader, and he points to the other 2 and says he'll be working with Bob and Jane, and that's all you will know them as, and they can hardly see Bob and Jane's faces as they're hidden under their hoods. This man says they'll provide the muscle, but you'll be expected to do a lot of the dirty work. Just follow them and do what they say. So, Liz and Sylvie have got themselves 2 accomplices, and they go down a street, they go down another street, through the backs of these houses here, and there is a grating in the ground in this alleyway, and Bob pulls up the grating and there's a ladder into the sewers. So they climb into the sewers, go along some, sewer-ridden tunnels, which get flushed into the sea, until they come to what ostensibly looks like a bricked up bit of wall, but it's actually a secret door, and we're going to see if Liz can pick the locks. Oh, and she gets 6. Yeah, so she picks the lock. That saves them bashing that door in. And Bob says to Liz, that's why you're here, love. Right. So they go in through the secret door, along a corridor which is about 50 feet long. I've got 1 square equals 5 feet. And it opens up into a room. And in this room are 2 people standing guard wearing robes. And Liz and Sylvia have seen these robes before. They're the same get-up that the evil cultists wore in the temple in the Caves of Chaos, way back in the Keep in the Borderlands. Now they're keeping guard. It's not easy to surprise them. Bob and Jane immediately wade in. They're not hanging around. These guys are on a mission, and it's up to us to tag along. Right, Bob is a fighter. He's level 3, but he has a +2 strength and damage. Jane is a cleric, and she is also level 3. She carries a mace, and she's got training in mace. Bob does 1d6 +2 with the short sword, and Jane does 1d6 +2 with the mace. Liz and Silvia are using the crossbows that were given to them by Rowan Blackthorn. Liz gets a +1 dex bonus. She loses that because of her lack of skill. Right, so the fight is on. Let's roll for initiative. And our team get initiative. So we'll do missiles first. And I'm going to give another -2 THAC0 penalty for the fact that Bob and Jane are in the way. So Liz misses. Silvia misses. Bob hits AC 4. They have AC 6, and he does 4 damage. One is down to 9. Jane misses. There go, and they do 1d6 damage. And they have a THAC0 of 18, and they hit Bob for 4 points. He, by the way, is a tank. He's got 29. I rolled up about 23 hit points +6 for a constitution, 2 times 3. Anyway, he's down to 25. And the other one hits Jane and completely fumbles. So that is round 1. Both Bob and Jane have ACs of 3. Round 2. We get initiative again. Right. Liz misses. Silvia hits and does 6 damage to a cultist. He's from 13 to 7. Bob misses. Jane, whose THAC0 is 17, hits AC 3. They have AC 7, and she does another 5 damage. That cultist is down to 2. It's their go. First one on Bob hits AC 3. That hits him and does 4 damage. He's down to 21. Second one hits Jane. She's down to 12. That's their go. We're on round 3. They get initiative. Let's do that again. That's a miss. That is a miss on Jane. Right. Liz. Yep, she hits. She does 2 damage to cultist. It's from 9 to 7. Silvia misses. Bob misses. Jane misses. Round 4. And we get initiative. Let's do all that again. Liz hits, does 1 damage, and the cultist she's on is down to 6. Silvia hits, kills the cultist that's on Jane. Bob hits and does 3 damage. He's got 1d6 +2. That cultist is down to 3. And Jane hit, remember, her THAC0 was 17 because of her 2 bonus training in maces. And so she hits AC 4 and she does 3 + 2 damage, and that kills that cultist. Now we don't have time to pick over any treasure because Bob and Jane move on down this corridor and Liz and Sylvia have to scurry after them. We come to a door here and they say to Liz, "Listen at that." Liz listens successfully and she hears voices and she reckons there's another 2 voices behind there. They try the door and it's stuck. Can Liz pick the lock? Nope, she fails to. Now that means we've lost surprise because these 2 cultists will have heard somebody scrabbling along with the locks. Bob is going to shoulder charge. He fails to. Jane also fails. Right, so this gives who's ever in there a chance to prep themselves. Bob charges again and the door bursts open. We have 4 cultists in here. And they are the same stats as the other ones. Right, we can't surprise them. Let's roll for initiative. And it's mutual. Right, let's do them. 1 on Bob, misses. Second one, misses. 1 on Jane, hits and does 4 damage, she's down to 8. Second one, misses Jane. Right, that's their go. Our go, missiles first. Because they're more spread out, Liz and Silvia can pick off the ones at the edges, so they don't need cover. Liz hits and does 1 damage. They're down to 12. Silvia misses. Bob easily hits and does 3 damage. 1 is down to 10. Jane, so she hits and she does 2 plus 2 damage. 1 of them is down to 9. Right, round 2. Mutual again. I think we're going at it hammer and tongs. 1 on Bob, misses. Second one on Bob hits AC 3. He has AC 3, so that is, he's down to 16. 1 misses Jane. That was AC 5, she's got AC 3. That hits AC 2. Yep, and she's down another 4 points. Right, our go. Liz misses. Sylvia with a +1 short range bonus and her THACO is 18. She hits AC 7. May have AC 7. She does 5 points. Jane is definitely going to cast Cure Light Wounds on herself. She does 6 points. She's back up to 10. And Bob is going to swing and a hit, and the person on him is dead. There's 3 cultists left, and it's round 3. And they get initiative. 1 on Bob, misses. The 2 on Jane, miss. And miss. Liz, misses. Sylvia hits AC 6 and does a good 6 damage. There's another one down from 13 to 7. And Bob hits and does 7 damage. 1 is from 12 down to 5. Jane misses. Round 4. They get initiative. The 1 on Bob misses. The 1 on Jane misses. And the other one on Jane hits. She's down to 4 HP. Liz. No, she misses. Actually, I think she hit there because of the short range bonus. Oh, well, forget it. Our Silvia hits, and 1 is from 9 down to 5. Misses. Jane hits and does 4 points off 1. It's down to 3. Round 5. They get initiative. I'll do a morale check, but it's very high, 11 or more. And they fight on. That one misses Bob. That one misses Jane. And that one misses Jane. Liz misses. Silvia, +1 for short range is 12. Her missile thaco is 18. So yes, she hits AC 6 and does 5 damage. She kills a cultist. There's 2 left. Bob misses. Jane hits and kills 1. There's 1 cultist left, and we're on round 5. He or she gets initiative. This one's on Bob. Completely fumbles, losing the plot. Liz hits AC 6, does 1 damage. Is down to 4. Silvia, I'm going to lose a couple there because of cover with Bob and Jane in the way. She misses. Bob easily hits, does 1 + 2 damage. That cultist is down to 1. Jane hits and kills it. 4 dead cultists, and we look at this room and there's an altar here, and it seems to have the same markings and tapestries and the same burning braziers as indeed the temple in the Keep on the Borderlands. So all this is very familiar to Liz and Silvia. They've seen this evil cult before. Right, Jane has another Cure Light Wounds. She's going to cast that on herself. She also has a healing potion. Right, that's another 4, she's up to 8. And she's not going to drink her healing potion yet. Liz and Silvia have also got healing potions and a potion of invisibility each. And they gave Silvia that potion of speed should it save her life. But again, Bob and Jane are on a mission. They have no interest in searching for treasure, or staring or wondering at bizarre idols, or even the ubiquitous jewels for eyes. They immediately backtrack here, go down here. Right, I'm going to end this fight here, and we'll finish this little temple next time. So I'll see you then.